Hello everyone, and this is part of my SX950 Pioneer Silver Series receiver refurbishment project. I bought this thing about a week ago, I guess, and got a fairly good deal on it. It's working, but I decided I was going to strip everything out. I'm going to replace all the electrolytic capacitors and transistors that are known to be to get noisy over time in these old beasts. These are the old monster receivers from the mid-70s. I'm changing out the smoothing caps, all of the CAN electrolytic capacitors, and some others, as well as transistors and all that sort of stuff. But one of the other things that I was working on was this old cabinet that was on it, and it had seen much better use and seen better days, and it's basically split here. And when you take a close look at it, it's just basically veneered plywood, and it's 3/8 inch plywood with a nice veneer on top of it. And because it's all cracked and everything, I decided what I was going to do was clone it. So here's my mock-up. What I did was I bought some 3/8 inch birch, a big nice sheet of that stuff, and I basically took all the measurements off of this using my table saw and a compound miter saw, as well as my drill. So I've got the holes drilled, and then I've got a Forstner bit on order to get the 15mm holes in there that are similar to this. I do have a smaller one which would work, but I just want to be same size and correct for the cabinet. And I had toyed with, like I say, re-veneering it, but you can see where it's badly cracked here. And all they did was they doubled it up with the 3/8 inch veneer, which you can see here that I've done. Notched out where some components fit on the cabinet and everything. And this is actually an exact replica. Just have to screw down the top plate. This one is a bit cracked, so I'm going to, or not cracked, I've got nice scratches, but not deep metal scratches, just paint scratches. So I'm going to repaint that black. It's on the upper side that you see. And yeah, I'm going to get a nice dark stain similar to the stain there. And I think it's going to just pop. So obviously the trade-offs here, I had to use what tools I had, and this will not show. That's just from the saw blade because I notched it out, and obviously the saw blade was burning the wood a bit, but it was the only way I could actually get it done. On the other side, everything looks good. All the wood is good. So on the side that shows, that's the important part. Everything else is interior, so I'm going to apply some stain to it once I've got it all assembled. I've got my chop saw out there. Just basically what I'm going to do is put these little wood blocks here. I didn't notch it out here. I decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to just glue the sides, use some brad nails with these little wedges that I'm cutting out. That's my next thing that I'm doing. And then of course this screws into the sides, and it'll make it nice and rigid and just as good as the original. So once I get that all together, I will show you. You can see the scratching here now. So all I'm going to do is clean that off with a naphtha or something like that. Get all the oil and everything off of it, and just give it a light dusting of black paint on it, and get rid of any of the, like I say, they're not etches or anything. They're just a little bit of scratching in the paint. So we'll get that all nice and beautiful again. So that's where I'm at. And I've also been taking pictures as I've been going through each of the steps here, just to show folks how this all came together. So the other thing that's important on these, if you see on the original, there's a nice little notch here that actually goes up underneath the faceplate, just so it makes it a seamless attachment. So I've done that here, you can see, and all I have to do is I have to cut out a bit there to make it equivalent to right there. So it's just a little piece that's going to be that distance right there. And I just got to cut that out there, and that's the same dimensions that you can see, so it'll go underneath the faceplate, and yeah, it'll look good. All right, here we've progressed a little bit more, and what I ended up doing was pull this one off. If you can see, I put edge tape on the sides, which would have been otherwise unfinished plywood, and where it's double wide, and that's actually going to make up this part of the cabinet. And there's the cross piece, and you're looking at it again from the bottom side. And what I've done is, I'm going to get this stuff out of the way here so I can do the mock-up again here. I got this here just to hold it up because I don't have any screws or anything holding it up, but you can see I fashioned these out of 1-inch strips of the 3/8-inch plywood on my table saw. And what I'll do is glue everything and then screw everything in, and then we should be pretty near good. It'll hold that on, and then you can see the condition of the wood on the side. It looks beautiful. And there, then of course we'll have to use some dark walnut as a stain, and then we've got varathane and urethane and all kinds of stuff in here. Whoops, dropping things. It's an empty container. Anyway, yeah, so there we go. The only thing I'm waiting to do before I assemble it is I'm waiting for the Forstner bits to come in, because I've got the pilot holes drilled to the depth of the holes on here, to the diameter of the holes there, but I need the Forstner bit to countersink it so that you can put the bolt head in. So I've got that on order, but through Amazon, and it's a 15 mil is what it takes. So before I fasten it all together, I want to be able to put it onto the drill press here. So I might have to wait a couple of days. I'm going to go boating this weekend anyway. So yeah, when I get back, the bit should be in, and I can complete the assembly and then start staining it, and sand it first, and then stain it once I've got everything assembled. I'll use brad nails to pop those in. Got my brad nailer compressor over there, and we'll pop those in and get it all nice and sturdy. And then I will have a complete cabinet for my SX950. And I've got all the parts for that on order from Mauser. And I've got a light kit coming in, so I can replace all these, some of these burnt out lights with LEDs. I prefer LEDs. Some people prefer originals, so you can't please everybody. And like I say, all the transistors. I'm going to put some diodes. There's on the protection circuit board, there's a diode that's got to go across a couple of the pins there to prevent some backflow of electricity to frap out your relay. So I might even, the relay is good, but I might even order a new relay for that. We'll see how it's performing. Like I say, everything worked before I started on this venture, but I just want to doll it up. I still haven't cleaned the faceplate. There's still all kinds of gunk and goop on there, and yeah, it should be a fun project. Thanks for watching. All right, here's a condition check video of my Pioneer SX950. I got this about a week ago on one of our used rags here, usedvictoria.com, I think it is where I got it. A guy had listed this, and looks like it came out of a frat house, so it was in pretty rough shape. Well, the case was in pretty rough shape, which you can see here, and it was all cracked, and all kinds of veneer was chipped off of it, and just beat up. So basically what I did was I took the metal plate off and I rebuilt another one. So here it is drying. I just put the last coat of inside urethane on. All the outside has been done for a couple days now, so it's nice and dry and hard. And I've got it on these little Q-tips just to keep it, well, I had it on these Q-tips just to keep it off the paper mat so it wouldn't pick anything up. Anyway, it's all looking good, and you can see that's kind of like the ultimate finish that it's going to be. And then I'm going to, there's some scratches on the metal piece here, so what I'm going to do is clean that really good with a solvent, and then spray paint it nice and black to match, and that should look all new again, and then plunk it back in and put it onto the receiver. So the receiver is in playing condition. So when I got it, I did a test on the porch of the guy's house, COVID rules in place, and brought out a pair of speakers, flipped it on, and we went through some of the controls and everything, and yeah, it works. There are some issues with lights, but that's not a problem. I've got a whole bunch of parts and everything on kits, online, so they're starting to trickle in. I'm still waiting for my big Mauser order to come in with all the capacitors and problematic transistor replacements, and some trimmers. Well, I got the trimmers here. So there's the light kit. It's going to be LEDs, so I don't have to worry about burning out lamps anymore. I got some trimmers, and I did get some stuff in from Newark, which seems to deliver here in Canada much quicker than Mauser does. And so I got those ones that I couldn't get on Mauser through Newark, and then I forgot to order some diodes, so I got some diodes in as well. And that'll fix up the protection board, I believe. There's a little shunt that you can do on these things to prevent backflow of energy back to the protection board and save everything. So anyway, in really good nick. Here are the trimmers I believe I'm going to be replacing, and of course all the capacitors and not all the transistors, but the ones that are known to be problematic. So and of course protect the relay. So powered on, and you'll hear the relay click. There we go, working good. Some lights burnt out, so we've got the these are obviously replaced because they shed the fittings and then they just soldered them in. So, but I will be replacing those with LEDs as well. And then some of the input lights are burnt. So, for instance, AM is working, FM light is burnt. Phono works, Phono 1 works, Phono 2, auxiliary does not. And then same with speakers, only speaker B works. So all those lights will be replaced. We'll go to auxiliary. The tone control is a bit clunky. Just needs to probably be exercised. And of course I'll be cleaning out all the switches. Right now I've done nothing to it. So the controls are what they are. The volume control, when I checked it out, was a little scratchy, but I've been exercising it and it seems to be good now. So we've got a little tune to throw on just to test it out. I've got it hooked up to my garage system here. That's all stuff I've rebuilt myself. All these Dynaco kits I've completely gutted and redid the PAT4, the FM5, and did all the transistors and capacitors in the amplifier there. And same with my Thorns turntable. I've resurrected that one from the grave. So we're going to play the receiver through these Dynaco A25s that I re-veneered at one point a long time ago. It was my first veneer project, not a very good one, but I'm getting better at it. I don't profess to be an expert, but anyway, so this is Astrocolor. It's a friend of mine is in this band. I've got a number of their albums, but you can see the tone controls are a little bit scratchy, but see it. Sounds really nice. See, the volume control is not scratchy anymore. So we'll clean that out anyway with some deoxit. And there's your balance. So both channels are working good. Loudness control, not noisy. Again, all these switches are, all the switches and the knobs and everything, they're all full of fingerprints and all that stuff. The faceplate needs a good cleaning up. There is a few little marks that you can see on the top, but nothing too serious. The front is really in great shape. The glass is intact, which is good. There is a little bit of a smile right there, which is kind of, how do you put a smile like that into the glass without cracking it? Anyway, it's the glass is intact, but you can see it's like a little flake of glass that came off it. So I'll toy with maybe putting a replacement in there, but you can't actually see it. So anyway, we'll check that out and see what we can do there. And it's going to be a fun project. See if FM. I haven't really played with the FM yet. I think I did on the porch.
No, a community voting center
there you go.
Open. Our hours are 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. weekends. Rentals include kayaks, rowboats, and paddleboards.
And typically I don't really get good reception in here, so without an antenna, it's just the built-in antenna, it's actually working pretty good. So I put an external antenna on, and I think it'll work much better. So I'll pull in some good stations. Yeah, that one's got a little more signal there. So there you go. Actually quite happy with the overall condition, and we will be over the coming weeks tearing this baby apart one board at a time. We're going to start with the output board, and do all of the caps and necessary transistors there. Get that one set up, and then do all of the other, like the tuner board, and all the other boards are underneath. You've got the tone control board and the protection board, a number of other input boards, phono boards, and all that stuff. So yeah, looking forward to this fun project. So thank you for watching, and I will do another update once I'm further along. I'll probably do some filming of doing the actual swap out of the components on the boards, which I've done with my Dynaco systems and the like. So for those that are interested and wanting to undertake a project like this themselves. I got the cap list basically off of Audio Karma. There's a number of really good threads on there that tell you what components to get. You go through Mauser to order the parts. Sometimes you have to find good substitutes, and that's where the trick is, to make sure you get the proper substitutes. So yeah, we'll mark the progress of this and keep everybody up to date. Thank you for watching. All right, here we've got the SX950 all ready to be recapped and everything. I've completely remade the case. I still have to paint this. This is just on loose right now. I don't have it screwed in. I'm just doing a dry fit to make sure everything's fitting correctly, and it does. So I'm quite happy with that. You can see some scratching in the metal here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean that off really good. And we'll paint that black, and you won't see any marks. And as you can see, the wood cabinet that I built to replace the scratched up, dinged up one that you see here is all complete. So see all the marks and the big cracks, and this thing was actually kind of cheap. It's not as solid as the one I built. And you can see all kinds of etching in it and everything. So yeah, I think it's gonna look real nice. And on the one side here, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a hot gun and take that off and put it onto the new cabinet, perhaps. Haven't decided whether I do. It's not in the greatest shape, so I may not, but I could. And here is all of the caps list. So what I did was I ordered all these capacitors and transistors and trimmers, and light kit, LED light kit for the 950, and what I did was I organized them into, here's another box. This is the power supply caps, power supply board caps that are, it's the most, so I'll do that the last probably. And we have the switchboard, which really is just a single cap on that one. Then we have the protection board, the tuner board, power amp board, tone amp assembly, EQ amp assembly, and some other transistors that I ordered to go on the power board as well. So power supply board. So I checked everything off in my little chart to make sure I have them all. I do not have, they actually short shipped me on the KSA 992 FBU transistors. Not so concerned because they require that to be, they're required to be gain matched. So what I'll do is I'll order some gain matched ones and perhaps do that, but you know, there's nothing wrong with the amp, so perhaps I can get away with not installing those, but we'll see. And then I added the tuner board, which was not in the original outfit, and I ordered that as a separate order, and that's all on the in this package right here. So I'm probably going to start with the thinking the protection circuit board, and put on the backfeed diode and get that working, and then I'll do each board separately and then plug it in and make sure that it's working correctly. So that is the status right now, and as you can see from the behind, you can see that this is in fact sagging because it's not screwed in, and I have not cleaned up, haven't taken the faceplate apart and cleaned up all the knobs and everything, so it's quite dirty and gucky still. And then as I do each board, I'm going to clean them all up and make sure they're nice and clean without any dust and dirt, and we'll get it looking good. So that's where we're at. I will do some video of me doing the boards, and it'll probably be in time lapse, but we'll do that as I go along. So hope you follow me, and I'm just keeping my fingers crossed that this will turn out to be a nice build. Thank you.